All right, guys, if you're on YouTube, we're just getting ready. Wait for people to join the space. And YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, NFT Podcast fam. This is Derek hosting Spaces and YouTube live. So we have started broadcasting on YouTube and getting everything all set for this podcast. It has been a great adventure getting this all started. Today, I wanted to break down a few different things that I have been looking at in the NFT marketplace. And I see a lot of people and a lot of fear. A lot of people are minting NFTs and they're dumping them on the market below mint price. This has to do with a lot of fear and a lot of people that invest money that they do not have. So that was one of the things I wanted to really touch on today, is being patient in the NFT space, especially if you believe in what you buy, which you should always believe in what you buy unless there is a certain hype that you can flip an NFT. So today is a great day. It is a nice cold day where I live, but the NFT marketplace is looking hot. We had Hermes Nogin drop yesterday, and that really took off. And they have doubled since I woke up this morning. They had doubled their volume. And so that was a good thing to see, seeing that volume come in and watching things grow that you are a part of. In this NFT space, there are a lot of different options for you. There are lock max yield, there is collectability, there's going to be a usability for some, and a real demand that we should be really looking for in these NFTs. And sometimes we don't see the demand until a certain point, which sometimes when that happens, we need to take a look back, take a step back and kind of look at the market, see what we can afford, never go over our limit on what we can afford, because NFTs are something that are not, it's a non-fungible token. So we can't just spend it like money. We have to be careful, get in on as many good mints as we can, and see where that takes us. So when I'm looking at the NFT space today, I see a lot of demand in mints and whitelisting. That's one way to go at NFTs with a certain strategy of just knowing where to be in the Discord servers and whitelisting for different NFTs. Like Nogin released their new partners, and so I see that everyone that had a Nogon got on their partnership whitelisting. So that was really cool to see. If you want to take a look and see what Nojin has posted, he has posted a lot of things. Yesterday was quite a crazy day for this community in Elrond, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. We see a lot of builders coming onto Elrond, kind of like we did. We saw ETH in 2015 through 2017. A lot of builders are coming on, making tools for NFTs. We did a podcast with one of the creators of NF homepage. I'm sorry about that. I'm blanking right now. Sorry about that, but we have done interviews with people and projects in this space to give clarity to the people. The information we give is not financial advice. There's a lot of things in this space, so you may like something, but it might not go anywhere, and that's something we got to always take accountability for the actions of buying NFTs. Going by the rarity on NFTs is another thing. Sniping off of secondary, that is definitely the way to go into NFTs, in my opinion, with minting certain NFTs also. So that has been my strategy in NFTs, because people don't really know what they have. A lot of times the rarities don't come out until a little while after too. So sometimes you can kind of add up the attributes and kind of see what's rare and what's not. That's another thing that I have been doing myself, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot of what I've wanted to accomplish in this space because of looking at certain traits and understanding projects when they come out. When you understand the attributes in some of these projects, you can a lot of the times get way more money for your NFT. As in, if you look at the history of like Nogons, for example, if you go on there, you will see that people will pay higher prices for higher stats. So that is one thing that I'm seeing a lot of. People are preparing for the future in some of these NFTs. And when we do look forward in the NFT space, we do have to realize that e-gold will fluctuate back and forth. And at some point, if e-gold goes high enough, a lot of these projects will go down to a really low amount of e-gold for floor prices, just because people will see that they want the e-gold instead of the project that they're holding, and they will take that loss because the dollar amount might be close to the same. So when you look at it that way, some people look at it from a dollar amount, some people look at it from e-gold amount. I seen that we had a dip in the market, which is actually a good sign to me, because if we do keep going down, then NFTs could be worth more when it comes to e-gold value. So that is one thing that I am really watching to see if the e-gold value for some of these NFTs really do stick and keep going up. Because when we take a look at how some of them are structured with their volume, with their amount of NFTs minted or amount of NFTs total, then you can kind of deduce what kind of like a formula, like what I have kind of like a formula in my head. So if there's only a certain amount of NFTs available and the floor price is this, they were minted at a certain price, then I can add that all up into kind of like, is this a good price to buy at? Will there be profit? And how long will I have to hold this NFT? For this podcast, we have collected quite a bit of NFTs, and we are very proud of the treasury we are building for this podcast and Degen Souls. So when it comes down to NFTs, the games that are built, the utility that is built around them will increase their value. The communities, the art, it can all come down to that. And so when I look at like a project like Nojin and what he's doing, he just dropped a lot of money for free on a lot of people. And so that was kind of what stuck out to me as being an outlier in the space for value, because we don't see free NFTs going for that much very often. So that's another green go flag for me, is because I did buy one off a secondary, the Hermes, and I think that was a very good investment for this podcast, and I got dropped one, so we can see the further growth of this, and I'm transparent about what I'm holding with what I'm talking about. With the Nogons, I do hold quite a few of those too, but those seem to be the key to a lot of that in the Genesis, or the first heroes on that Nojin put out. Those seem to be the keys to the new projects that are coming out. So anyone that has a Nogon or buys a Nogon can get whitelisted into there was a few different projects that they did have. I am blanking, but I was not ready to talk about the partnerships today. I did want to talk about the demand and other aspects too. So when you do get whitelisted for some of these projects, if you do go look under the Nojin partnerships, we do have quite a bit coming up in the next few months to the rest of the year. So those are just a few things to be prepared for if you are interested in taking part in something like that, because there will be a lot of different partners with Nojin, and I do see it that you won't be able to buy every single partner. There will be more elite partners that come up and show more value. I do believe that, and there will be a lot that are used for liquidity. As we can see, that's already playing out with lightning bolts. A lot of people use lightning bolts as liquidity. They might regret that later. I have also used them for liquidity to enter other NFTs, because that is what you do when you are when you are doing flipping and you're flipping NFTs. I did let people know on this podcast, bolts, when bolts were 0.3 E gold, and right now they're sitting at 0.8. And I do believe that it will not stop there, but do not take that as financial advice. They just have the demand is there, and just little by little, people are picking them up and they aren't reselling them. So there is going to be an actual demand for them soon. I do believe that they are taking part in different activities that will create demand for them. And I believe that's all Nojin projects. They will create a certain demand. Will it take off? They can create the demand, but the demand has to be by the people. So a lot of people, they will buy into what everyone says. I I do believe that too. You'd have to find where the trust is, though, and it is hard to find that trust sometimes in the space. So when you break it all down and you actually know the projects, the people who are running the projects, those are the NFTs that I want to be invested in, because I want to be able to walk up to that person who created that NFT, shake their hand, and thank them if once they had a successful project. That's something that would really be awesome, especially if Nogin was to become big in the investing world. As we know, Visa already has purchased NFTs. We see bigger banks and everything, and now Wall Street came out and they are now creating their own NFT marketplace. So all the stocks and everything can create their own NFTs, and it will become something different. But with that, it does create that demand in the sub markets like Elrond, because that's what it will be, is like a sub market, or you own it, not the bank owns it. Because obviously if you have an NFT on through the stock market, you're not going to have custody of it, really. I wouldn't think so. So with that, we have a lot of other things coming into play. Like I said, e-gold going up and down, to the fact that people could just start dumping projects, even if they are high name projects. They could dump them, take their loss in US dollar or their currency. I use US dollar, but their currency, in case you are hearing this from somewhere else. But it will always happen. And if you look on OpenSea to what has happened to most projects, they do end up dumping all the way back down. They have an initial first hype, and a lot of times you'll be able, on OpenSea, you'd be able to flip your NFT if the gas prices were right. And that's what I think I'm kind of waiting for, is Ethereum to kind of hit a bear market of sorts, and that will spike an interest back into NFTs to a mass level. And we will see a flood of users that hate NFTs on ETH, and they want to find something better. And I do believe Elrond can offer that, and the NFTs we have are really awesome. So they will only get better and better. It is just the start of our NFTs. I believe they will get to the point where NFTs can be literally anything and have an actual tag to them, to the real world, in the eyes of the people, because that's what we're missing. We can tag our NFTs to our house, to everything right now, but not in like a lawful way. I guess the law is what we're going to be waiting for. When the law says we're good, then we can take it forward even further. But there will be that space in between where the early adopters in some of these NFTs and some of the early to late investors still will be able to profit off of NFTs, especially when they're using Elrond with such little gas fees. When it all comes down to it, people will start penny pinching at some point, especially if we do go into a long bear market. They won't want to use Ethereum because of the gas fees will still be too high for them to be able to afford it. And if we do end up going into an actual serious recession here, we will see NFTs go wild. I do believe that, because of the fact that people will indulge in in more gaming and be able to withdraw from the world more, because there won't be a real economic world for them to be a part of. They'll have to find something to be a part of. And that's exactly what we kind of, with this channel and what I'm trying to create with Degen Souls, is kind of an economy where you work. And so that's kind of where we are going. And if you are into NFTs right now, it is kind of like work. It's not exactly work, because nothing is final until you're cashing it out. But it's not an easy game to play. And if you get on the wrong side of things, then it can get pretty hairy when it comes to investing in some of these illiquid assets. But being safe and knowing what you invest in and knowing where you can get the value from, that is one thing that I highly recommend you watch in the space, because it's not something you can just see right away. Sometimes it comes on later, and then you see the value, but then it's too late. So when it does come down to it, it is a matter of luck and kind of your interests aligning with something that comes out that could be big. And when that does happen, it can change your life. So keep your eye on stuff that comes out, that especially in the gaming world. We do have a few different games coming out on Elrond that have it in their roadmap for a game, or game NFTs. So there are people working. How fast? I don't know. When will the first game come out on Elrond? I don't know. The first gaming NFT comes out, that will be probably the biggest NFT in the meantime, because there will be a sudden demand for it, and everyone will want to try it and play the game. So those are just different things that I'm looking at when it comes to buying NFTs and land NFTs. That's another one that, if there is land NFTs anywhere, kind of look at it. There are some pretty undervalued, in my honest opinion. There are some undervalued land parcels on Elrond. I won't go into the specifics. You should look into some of the projects that are offering land type metaverse that they're building. So there will be some sort of metaverse on Elrond at some point. I see it happening hopefully at the end of the year, and something coming out, some sort of game, simple game. I guess that's all I'm asking. I am not a creator. I need to find people to create for me, and that is never an easy thing. But once that first game comes out, we will see that initial demand, and we will see it come fast, especially if there is a big reward for playing that game, and if it could actually be a life-sustaining game for somebody, it could change the lives of so many people. And I think people are really trying to get to that point. And when we do see some, even like a card game come out, and I know there are a couple of different NFT projects that are kind of a card game or a card-based game. So those are ones that I'm kind of looking at too, because they can kind of have a game easier and mechanisms easier on a website than like a 3D game, or even like an 8-bit game. There's a lot that goes into those. So when it all comes down to who's going to be the first up to show that they're playing the game, and those will be the winners, the people that show up to play the game right away and maybe have minted a lot of their pieces or land or whatever that might be. So when I look around, there are a couple that really pop out to me, and I hope that you kind of look into that niche as well, because when land becomes valuable, that's when people go crazy and they'll spend unruly amounts of money, especially if there's money to be made there and they didn't see it before, and then they get introduced. And you already have 5 NFTs or something. You would be pretty well off, especially if they all ran 5 to 10,000 a piece and you bought them at $80. So those are different things that I'm looking for and there are not too many different things coming out right now that I'm really interested in, but there will be some mints happening, I think, by the end of this month. So thanks for joining this podcast today. I will keep the spaces going if anyone wants to come up and talk or get involved. We did not have very many people joining the spaces today, but that's fine. Just getting this recorded podcast, and we are live on YouTube. So thank you for joining us today. And if you want to get back and see the recording, check out my profile and at gmnfts.org on Twitter, and check out our podcast on Spotify for earlier info, and join our Discord for different giveaways and different things that are coming up on Elron. So thank you for joining us today, and have a good day.